The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Good morning, you guys. Welcome to another lovely Wednesday here on Get It Got It Good. I am excited because we're talking about one of our favorite subjects today, which is business. I love entrepreneurs. Yes, I love my dancers too. Don't get it twisted. But I am Naja Wilhite, your host as always. Today we have Guy Cooper with us. So we're going to talk about everything from just your business is royally screwed to how, and I said it the nice way this time. And then how you get it from being completely. So it reminds me of, you know that one of my best friends is white, so don't get this wrong way, but you know that white guy on TV who goes into like bars and fixes up
Bar Rescue.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
My husband watches that show.
Yes.
He's awesome. He could be an ass, but he's awesome.
Sure.
So this is how I kind of think a guy, right? On the nice side. So I'm really looking forward to speaking with you today and talking about exactly how a business cannot even know that they're completely screwed up. And how you go about opening their eyes without being the guy from Bar Rescue.
Sure.
And then how do you help them transform? I know you got some products and stuff that are coming out soon to help different things. But yeah, I'm so excited about that.
Outstanding.
Also during this show, you guys, you know I always do a artist spotlight segment, which includes artists that I find personally on social media that are sent to me, that I bump into, that I think some of you guys will like. Now, rappers may not appeal to some of y'all, singers may not appeal to some of y'all, but it's all artistry, and I'm all about giving artists a platform from everywhere, especially from here in the DMV. So if you have any type of music, art, poetry, whatever the case may be, definitely send it to me. You can find me on IG at Get It Got It Good G3, Facebook at Naja Carter, or at Get It Got It Good G3, YouTube, wherever, you guys. Just send it to me. I'll be sure to go through it. We have a lot of entries. Keep them coming. I love you guys for that. But before we get started, let's take a look at the artist spotlight, because once we come back and delve into the business aspect, I definitely want to keep that rolling because I have a lot of questions. So you guys, take a second, enjoy this artist spotlight from this week's artist.
Come and ride with me and leave him alone. Come and catch a vibe with me, I won't do you wrong. We can keep it all low key if you need it, babe. If you need it, baby. Cause he ain't it, and I'm a shit. No, he ain't it, you know that shit.
I'll make time for you, you know everything to do. Giving you the business, boy, you know I'll be the truth. I be the truth. You put it down on me. Speakers knocking to the early morning. It was knocking on the wall. Yeah, from the bed to the bar. Yeah, all of you out of woo. Praising you.
But with the sickest niggas, quick to pull the trigger, let me paint a vivid picture. Don't let the system switch up, the crust don't getting richer, cause I want something bigger. I put that on my sister, I'm a strategic winner. You let that liquor twist ya, you ain't no boss, you just like to jump in niggas' pitches. Who me, I'm top notch, I want that top spot. I'm sitting at the table now, and you was not.
And silly of me to think that you could ever really want me to, how I want you. You're just a lover out to score, and I know that I should be looking for more. What could it be in you? I see. What could it be?
Are your eyes a little blinded by this flashing lights? And you look a little tired from your first class flight. Tell me, baby, is your high horse just a little too high? You only see me from up there cause you walked right by. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were a big deal. I didn't hear about it. Forgive me for coming in your spotlight. Why you acting so famous?
Feeling like I lost my touch. My nigga been acting up. Somebody tell me.
Wanna be laying right next to you at night long. Tell me, do you got what it takes? Do you got that fight long? Tell me these feelings that I'm feeling must be right long. Tell me that you the one that's gon' have me for life, because I'm cheating on my ex nigga. So you better be my next nigga. Why you doing what you doing? Say I got the best figure. The daddy, he a go-getter. He pick me up in the form.
Welcome back, you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed this week's Artist Spotlights. If you know anybody on there, definitely tag them. Let them know that they were on air on WBGR Health and Wellness channel. And it will be reposted on the YouTube channel, which is Get It Got It Good G, no 3. Okay? So, guys, I definitely want to delve back in because I have a lot of people in business on the surface, but they feel enslaved by that business because it's not doing what they want. They stay small and can't hire, or they don't know how to properly expand. So, before we get into that, who are you though? Like, why should we listen?
I got it. Love it. Yeah. So when I was in college, I went to school for electrical engineering. And when I was in college, I saw people that weren't able to navigate whether they had good auto repair or not. They couldn't tell with all the technical babble that the service provider shared with them, whether it made sense. And the service providers didn't communicate as well as they needed to in many cases. So I decided to stop electrical engineering and open up an auto service. So at 21, I launched an educational component. I launched an auto service where I educated consumers so they could be a part of the decision-making process when it came to auto repair.
Wait, 21, you guys. Stop trying to say you too young.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's a fact.
Go ahead.
Yep. And so I did that for 25 years. In 2007, I had a daughter who was born 1 pound 11 ounces. And that was a very scary time. We didn't know if she was going to make it, or be all right, or even make it in that regard. And 5 months after that, I had a major car accident that should have been fatal. And I had a concussion and brain bruising, and the market crashed, and the housing market and stock market crashed all at the same time.
Jesus.
So with all of that happening in that whirlwind, our financial nest egg, because I was planning on duplicating my facility, my financial nest egg went away. And I was in a place where I had to rebuild everything. Still had my shop, but had to rebuild everything, and it made me reevaluate. What am I doing?
A lot of people say, okay, what's the purpose of an emergency fund? There you go. That's the purpose of an emergency
100%.
fund. I've come across so many people who were doing great. You know, life, you guys, is a roller coaster. They do great, they lose it all, they want their crap back.
That's
right?
That's right.
So how did you get the motivation? Because sometimes people, they lose everything, and then they're just like, woe is me, and can't continue to put one foot in front of the other. How did you muster the energy to keep it moving forward?
Well, I had so many clients at that point. I probably had 1,200 consistent clients that actually we serviced, and I had a staff that I needed to take care of and make sure that we met payroll and what it took to run the company. So I couldn't
choice.
I couldn't afford to not. My doctor wondered why I wasn't depressed. With all the brain bruising and the neurological concerns that I had, I didn't have time to be depressed. I wanted to really take care of my people. And with that stated, though I wanted to really take care of my company and take care of people, I was exhausted. I was tired, and I really didn't want it.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to quit, but I didn't know how to quit. It's not what I was made for. It's not what I wanted to do any longer. I really wanted to move in my passion. When I first started, within the first probably 15 years, loved it, very passionate. But that started to wane, and so that's where, that's what happened. I saw what I really loved doing, and transition here.
So we get trapped.
Yep.
You guys know I started a dance company. I opened up 2 brick and mortars. I stopped that because I got trapped. It's this overhead.
That's right.
I have to be there. I'm not a 9-to-5er. Not me. I can't do it. But opening up the brick and mortars, that was what it was like for me, right? So if you're in this predicament where you have people depending on you and you're not happy, how do you transform that into something else, still feed yourself, and how do you prioritize that? Like, what did you do?
Sure. So a couple things. So if I can talk behind the curtain for a second, one of the things that has to happen is you have to look at, what is the goal? What's the plan? Let me share my story, because that would really kind of just. So for me, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I just know what I was doing wasn't it.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to do something on a much larger scale, being able to assist people and help them. And at the time, I had a radio show. I was a healthy car guy, actually on the air. And my show specialized in teaching consumers how to ask the right questions and recognize the right answers, right, when it came to auto repair, so they could have some control in the outcome. And what I would do is I would teach the consumers on the air, or the listeners, how to hold service providers accountable. And anybody that came to my shop, I would let you hold me accountable, because I'm going to hold you accountable as well. And I call them bottom feeders, right? So we have bottom feeders all throughout every industry, and the bottom feeders aren't just service providers. The bottom feeders are also customers. They're people, right?
Okay, so can you define a bottom feeder?
Yeah, so a bottom feeder is a crook, criminal, or con artist that doesn't really care about good service, best, they just want best price. If they can get over, if they can hold you to accounts and make you pay for it because they said something and then you did it and it's not really what they wanted, and your car's still not repaired, they try to hold you accountable for it, then that's what I would call a bottom feeder. Let's put it in the court. So today you can go get your check engine light checked for free at AutoZone. Right?
Really?
Yes.
You don't have to hook it up to the $75 plus diagnostic machine.
That's the thing. That's what I want to share, right? And I don't want to get into technical babble, but you can go get your car checked for free as far as the check engine light. But all that's doing, let's say they tell you the oxygen sensor code was set, and they tell you need an oxygen sensor. Well, if you would have brought it to my shop, or you bring it to any one of my client shops, we would share with you, wait a minute, so what we need to do is find out, first off, is if the oxygen sensor is bad or not, because the oxygen sensor measures whether there's too much oxygen, right?
Okay.
Kind of like our lungs take in blood. So I don't want to go technical babble with this, but I want to, if the oxygen sensor is working really good, then it could be telling you that you have a vacuum leak that's about 50 cents worth of service that you need to have done, right? Or the oxygen sensor could be bad. Which one is it? And those clients invariably would say, I have no idea. Neither do I. So we need to assess it so we can find out. We're not trying to get over. We're not trying to, charge you for something that we're not doing. We need to assess it so we can make sure we hit the mark properly and take care of your vehicle. Well, you have people that don't want that. All they want is the oxygen sensor, and they want you to put the oxygen sensor on as a service provider. And once you do, and the check engine light doesn't go off, then they can
come back,
put you down, give you 2 stars, 1 stars, and reviews, and say, hey, you messed my car up, but you didn't fix my car right. And so knowing that up front, we were a strong educational platform where we would educate people up to our standards. So one of the things that I would say is you got to have standards that you move in, and you have to stand on those standards. If somebody comes in below your standards, I didn't just turn them away and say I'm not interested, I don't care. I will always educate people and try to bring them up to my standard. And if I could do that, then maybe we can win together and we can do business. If not, then this service is not for you.
So it's a common theme throughout business owners that I know are winning. It's that win-win motto. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
everybody has to win in this scenario. If one person loses, then we all lose. So then if that was your platform and educating people, you got stuck. How did you switch that into becoming all business and not just the auto industry?
Sure. So on my radio shows, I was educating customers and teaching them how to hold service providers accountable.
Especially women, we get screwed.
And well, not always. And that's a whole nother. We can do that. That's a whole nother. Because
Okay.
there's women who don't. There's women who can hold a service provider more accountable than men or almost anybody.
Oh,
right?
really?
So you just have to know what to do and the steps in that process. What happened was I had service providers start coming to me and calling and saying, hey, you shared that so simply and it broke it down so clearly that would you teach me how to have my clients hold me accountable? And you've talked about how it made you more profitable, you have more business because of that, you starve out the crook, criminal, and con artists, which we call bottom feeders. And so I realized when I started assisting service providers in that regard, I saw it's a lonely road, and you talked about that. It's a lonely road, and you almost feel like an albatross around your neck. And in the automotive industry, probably more than almost any industry, and I can, at one point I couldn't totally see that, but now working with a lot of industries, you have a customer that's coming in that feels like, because of your industry, that you're probably going to rip them off. So it's an adversarial relationship. Walking in the door, you did nothing.
You do
right?
have the industry has a
name, right?
Yes.
And then you have a vehicle that you're working on that you have no idea of what's wrong with that vehicle and what it's going to take to repair that vehicle. And now you got to go and you got to tell them, the customer, that there's a set price to diagnose it to figure out that concern, and they think you're trying to rip them off. And you have a car that you can't figure out. And then when you look at that car, you're like, oh my goodness. I've looked at this car for an hour or hour and a half, and I've charged the client, $97.13. I've charged them for an hour's diagnostics, and I don't have a clue what's wrong with that car. And so then you'd have to call the customer back, and this is the educational side of it. And I know I'm not answering the questions you asked me a second ago. The educational side of it is I will call the customer and say, hey, I know that these 4 systems are working beautiful. This 5th system, because there's only 5 systems that have caused this intermittent concern. This 5th system is causing the concern. I don't know what the concern is. I know that most of the system works good. It's one area that I need to assess further, and that's going to take another $97.13. And at the end of that, I still have to let you know where I stand and know what the cost
it's kind of
is.
like it's a doctor. It's a doctor.
100%.
Go in, figure out what's wrong, run all the tests. We pay our co-pays and our doctor fees, and we don't think nothing of it. I mean, we gripe, but we know we expect it. So then, go ahead.
Yep. And so with that, what happened was I just found that I loved helping service providers that felt like they were stuck, and they felt like, man, my clients feel like I'm ripping them off, or people walk in the door feel like I'm ripping them off, and I can't really charge fair. And I'm losing my shirt because I'm not charging for certain services because they're going to think that I'm trying to get over. And so they were stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I knew that place. I've been in that place for 25 years. And so I realized, this is what I was made for. Right. And so even what you just stated. So I have a course that I teach and it's Gary Launch. It's called The Leader's Intent. And it's what you just said. Right. It's sharing with people what they need to do, right? Sharing with them why they need to do it and how it needs to look when it's done.
Okay.
Right?
So being transparent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Because, a lot of times we don't go that far. We may share with the employee, what the task is. This is a task that I need you to do. I don't have time to share with you why you need to do it. I don't have time for that. And sometimes you don't, right? But if you can share with a person what they need to do and then share the purpose of it, why they're doing it, and how it should look when it's done, you're going to have a better result, right? And so we have a whole process in how that works.
Your client now is no longer just a service guy. And it's funny that you say this. Me and my husband had this discussion last night, right? And it doesn't just go into business. It goes into personal life. It goes into everything.
It's everywhere.
Say that again. If you share with the person what and why, you get a better result.
Absolutely. So you need to share with them what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to share the reason they're doing, the purpose of it, the purpose is, and then what the end state should look like.
So I'm going to be the devil's advocate.
Yep.
I'm a business owner. I know my stuff,
Yep.
right? I know why you need to do this, why you need to do that. Say for dance, for example. I know you need to warm up so you don't pull no muscles. But I just tell my student, you need to warm up. And they're like, but why?
Sure.
Why do I got to explain to you? You came to me.
Sure.
Or I'm the boss. What do you say about that type of leader?
So look at that. So if you share that, they're gonna stretch and do the things they need to do, but are they gonna do that when they get home or just when they're in your presence?
In the presence, or reluctantly, or with the
That's right.
tug of war.
That's right. So what I would share with you is, you want to really partner, as you stated, where you can have a win-win scenario where everybody can win. So you should share with them why. And most leaders, most people that we share with initially feel like, I don't have time for that. Are you kidding me? That's insanity. But, if you would just share with them, hey, you should stretch, because as you stretch, this is what it does for you, and this is how it assists you, right? And, this is the impact if you don't do it, because there's an impact as well, right? And this is how it should look when you're done. They can see the outcome. You're basically sharing with them, wow, this is where you stand. And if they can, the clearer expectation is, the less time you'll spend doing things on the back end. So you think you think it's a waste of time, but you're going to save time. Right?
Yeah, from injuries and all kinds of stuff.
And have a better relationship.
Yeah, right.
So your relationship is going to be stronger. You're going to have less time spent doing things that you thought, were a waste, and you'll set a better expectation. Is that not a win-win?
That is a win-win. So now people come to you. They take this leadership. Now, do they realize that being a leader, you guys, means that you are the biggest service provider? You are in service of the people that you're leading.
100%.
They don't serve you, right?
100%.
That's my personal philosophy. I see that you agree.
100%.
So how do you, because a lot of people go, when I'm the boss, I'm going to be able to whip that, right?
Sure.
How do you transform their thinking then to realize that in any industry, if you want to lead and you want to be successful, you have to be in service of the people that are following you?
Sure. So as you're paying a team member, employee, whatever you want to call it, right? As you're paying somebody, the most you can pay for is their hands, their ability to be able to do the work, right? And their back, their hands and their back, right? You're not paying for somebody's passion.
Sure.
You're not paying for somebody's ingenuity. You can't pay for that, right? And the only way you're going to get that is for them to give that to you. And this is the thing: if an employee were to come in and be passionate about what they did,
you get more
and
for your
really
buck.
love it. Oh my goodness!
You get more for
They're
your
going
buck.
to catch you on fire. They're going to catch the client on fire. They're going to catch the other employees on fire. Would that not be attractive? Would that not inspire everybody?
That's a win-win.
It's a win-win. Right? And if they moved in ingenuity, if they've really moved to actually make the company better, and they're always looking for ways to make the company better and improve, then that's a win-win as well.
Yeah.
And so if you were actually to engage with them to find out, where they are. So let's back up. So even before that, what has to happen is you have to, as I stated earlier, you have to set good standards. So when you hire somebody, you're not hiring somebody to do a job. And that's first. You're hiring somebody to manage a set of tasks. So just so we establish that, everybody that comes in the door is a manager.
Okay.
And you're here to manage these tasks. And the day you can't manage these tasks, it's not personal. I'm going to have to find somebody that can manage these tasks. Right? So just so we have that clear, because that one small nuance is huge. Because, people hire people and then they have a bad attitude in their organization, and that bad attitude is affecting their good people.
Yeah, it just
I call that
spreads like a
refrigerator
virus.
management.
Yeah.
And it ruins everything. And then you're scared to fire them, and what do I do? No. They came in to manage these tasks. The day they can't manage those tasks, no worries. Somebody else will manage the task. And there's
Business
two
is
questions.
business.
And there's two questions that need to be asked on the front end and every day after that, right? And they need to be posted.
Two questions?
Yeah, two questions. Yeah, do I do my job well? Do I get it done? And do others like working with me?
Okay.
Right.
So if those are your core questions, everything else can fall under those 2 questions.
Yeah.
So then, okay, you walk into a door, you sit down with the the CEO, the whatever, or the leadership team, and then you start to assess their business. How do you do? Do you look through their books? Do you walk through their facilities? Like, how do you do that?
So as soon as I'm contacted in that regard, the first thing I do, and I can see success and failure in an organization whether I want to or not. And I realized that early on in my company, with my auto service. I didn't really, even though I was a tech and I worked on cars in the beginning, I learned that wasn't my role. I was always working on the business and not in the business. And because of that...
Wait. You guys hear that? Sorry. Don't mean to...
No worries.
You work on the business, not in the business.
That's right.
So personal example, this is what I mean by I'm stepping out of the teaching and hiring people for it, right? And so... this is what I mean by that. So why do you work on the business and not in the business?
Well, because you have to, as you work on the business, you can see things. You need to hire people that actually work in your business.
Yes.
For one, right? And what I recommend is I always recommend hiring your weakest link first. So whatever you're not good at, whatever you don't want to do, hire that person.
But you still got to oversee it because, You
still oversee it. Oh, absolutely. Inspect what you expect.
Don't hire and be like, woo, I'm done with that. That's
right.
a mistake. Okay, go ahead.
And then you get to the place where you can hire your strength, right, or what you want to do, and then you've replaced yourself in your company, and now you can really work on the company. But even before you do all of that, you really need to be working on your business, looking at what's working, what's not. There's always something that's working in your company. There's always something that's not working in the company. There's always something that's missing or not working as well as you'd like it to. Right? There's always something possible. And this is the thing. As leaders, a lot of times we think we're the only ones that hold that process and that power, right? And you're not. Your client holds that same power. Your staff holds that same power. Because if it's not working in their mind, then they're not producing. People operate, in the way that situations occur to them, and it's, so if they feel like this is not working because you have to, I can't do anything without you inspecting it first. I can't really measure whether I'm doing a good job unless you come in and let me know that I'm doing a good job. And then that's predicated upon your attitude
and everything else.
Where you stand. Then that's broken.
Yeah.
Right. And so they need to be able to manage things for themselves. And when that can happen, and they can really, you can have a platform, unbiased, and usually it's a third party that comes in that can say, hey, what's working, what's not working, and they can share, and you can glean those commonalities. I take those commonalities back to the leader. So where I start is I walk in the door and assess the company before I even talk to the leader, and I have to talk to the leader first, and I see success and failure all throughout the company. And so when I start talking to the leader, they tell me what they're looking for and what they're interested in, and then I start asking them questions to make them face the ugly truth. Because I assess the leader and just look at the ugly truth. So let's put it on the court. Let me give you an example. So one company we went in, as I walked in, I saw a manager who was facing a wall.
Okay.
And I saw a customer that walked in the door, and this is an auto service. And so a customer walked in the door. The customer asked the service advisor, which is the person they talk to as soon as they walk in the door, a question. The service provider clearly couldn't answer that question. So the service provider turned and looked at the manager, and the manager never even turned to look at the service advisor or the customer and answered. And so what happened was and so what happened was the customer, I just watched the grimace on the customer's face. The service advisor was ice cold and neutral because they were used to it, right? So when I went to the leaders of the company, and these leaders had just acquired this company, I went to the leaders and I said, so what are we doing about the manager that's facing the wall that doesn't even look at people? And so that's where we start. So after they share what they share, we need to face the ugly truth. What are we doing about that? Right? Well, we've tried to deal with that. We've tried to get that straight.
Fire them.
So what do we do? Well, I don't agree with that. Let's first off find out where they stand. Because what I found is a lot of times people don't know how they look. They don't know.
Also, doesn't even realize that he's coming off that way.
Had no clue. And so what I didn't share was that manager was facing the wall. As I walked to the shop, the general manager was like a wet noodle. The general manager wouldn't hold anybody to account. I could see it. People were doing things and just was not holding people to accounts. And so, with that, it's like, whoa, so what are we doing, what are we doing with this manager, this general manager that's not holding people to accounts? First off, is he a friend? He was, right? And so at that point, I realized that we needed to deal with that. Okay, we needed to deal, with that, and so that's where it starts, and that's part of facing the ugly truth. And so when they shared, I was able to go share with that manager that was facing the wall, and share with him, why are you doing that? Just flat. Why are you doing that? Do you realize? And share with him exactly what I witnessed. He teared up the second I shared that, and it wasn't fake tears, right? And as he teared up, I'm like, well, he didn't even know this. Nobody's ever even said this to him. And I said, so what are you going to do about this, right? And so immediately, we talked about the action steps that he needed to take to turn it around. And so he turned his desk around and he said what he was going to do. And he really tried his best to actually, turn that around. But what happened was the team, it had been like that for so long, they weren't willing to accept it. And so he realized at that point, that he wasn't managing the task that he was called to manage after we had that discussion. And he decided this is not, I should stop. And he fired himself.
Hey, well, you guys, as you see, there's a lot. And then you will take these individual things throughout the company and work up and then rebuild the company that way. How long does it typically take, real quick?
So we have a year program, but right now I have an online platform that has 6-week coaching processes. We've done this with companies over a 6-week period, like facing the ugly truth that I just talked about, because there's some succinct steps that need to happen. There's 6 questions and 6 questions that happen that your team has to answer, right, and has to be analyzed. And there's 4 action steps that you have to do with your team. If you do that, we can assure you'll face the ugly truth, and you'll have a better company. You'll have a healthier company and far better production.
So how do they find you?
So I'm the Healthy Car Guy. So thehealthycarguy.com.
Okay.
But I've had so many non-automotive companies actually come and ask for our assistance. We feel like it's time now to extend our brand to the Healthy Business Guy. Okay. Still go to the Healthy Car Guy, but you'll slowly see the Healthy Business Guy in our branding. Okay. Everything else will be the same or better.
Okay. Awesome. So I appreciate your time on here today. It's informative. Well. You guys, if you have more questions, definitely tag me, go to the Healthy Car Guy and send in your questions that way as well.
So guy@thehealthycarguy.com is my email address.
Hey, there you have it. So next week, I'm excited to say we did get a chance to reschedule Melion, who will be on here. He was stuck in California. So I'm excited to hear about that. I know he has a show in Philadelphia coming up as well. And so we'll go through that. So stay tuned for the promotions. If you are a business and you would like to advertise or sponsor or market in some form or fashion, definitely hit us up or email getitgotitgood3@gmail.com or call us. Our number is 301-429-9247 here at the studio. And just find us on Facebook, WBGR Health and Wellness Channel, or at Get It Got It Good G3, and we will direct you to the right person. So I look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday, same place, same time, at 11:30 on WBGR Health and Wellness Channel. And I appreciate you being here, guys, my audience, and I appreciate you being here, Guy.
Thank you for having me as well.
Awesome.
Yes, definitely.
So you guys, peace out. Love ya.
Good morning, evening, friend.
Souls for Goals, a nonprofit organization that I started with the purpose to empower and inspire the youth to strive for and achieve excellence through whatever they do, whether that's sports, school, art, dance, and to reward them for that. It all started, it was an idea in August 2019 through Instagram, giving away sneakers with incentives for kids, be a pillar in our community, be somebody that, that people can look to and come to for assistance, for help. That was my dream, or what my purpose was, or what I needed for personal and self-fulfillment. And that's when, the idea came about, to start a nonprofit, Souls for Goals, to give back to my community, to give back to my people. And when that hit me, I knew. Souls for Goals, we would never sell our soul.